fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
Hey everybody, welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for more science, space and tech news to share with you. And I came across this at rt.com. This will be interesting. Top German MP threatens X and Telegram with bans. Yes, Berlin must tackle online radicalization and further tighten control over social media, the legislator said. Interesting. Have you noticed that every time something radical is posted on something like a Meta platform, that Mark Zuckerberg isn't threatened? Interesting, isn't it? Germany must act to stop the dissemination of extremist content online and block major social media platforms if necessary, a senior MP from the country's Green Party has said. Now, MP Anton Hofreiter, the chairman of the Bundestag's European Policy Committee, made the remarks on Saturday while speaking to reporters from the Funk Media Group. The politician called for tighter control over social media, up to the outright blocking of certain platforms. Yes, only certain platforms. You notice that if somebody puts something on Facebook, for argument's sake, that could be considered radical, the post will get taken down, that's fine. But does Mark Zuckerberg? No, of course he doesn't. It's only Pavel Durov and Elon Musk that seem to get threatened. Interesting, isn't it? Yes, one of the biggest problems of extremism is online radicalization, Hofreiter stated, adding that the dissemination of anti-constitutional content on the internet must be stopped. This is all about censorship and control. Elon Musk was never in any danger until he bought Twitter and turned it into X. Yes, and Mark Zuckerberg may get a fine occasionally. He doesn't get treated the same way, does he? We need to tackle the root of the problem and push back radicalization in digital space as well as in society. Yes, just like in England. You can't post naughty things on the Facebooks or put you in jail for 2 years. Yes, so many people are being arrested, they've got to start releasing violent criminals from prison to make room. Interesting. Those social media platforms that refuse to abide by German laws and remove extremist content must be blocked altogether, Hofreiter argued, specifically singling out X, formerly Twitter, among the potential targets. However, blocking platforms must only be a last resort measure, the MP noted, urging the government not to distance itself from modern technology. Instead, the government should use them for its own benefits, namely deploying digital agents to infiltrate private groups on Telegram to identify potential criminals, Hofreiter suggested, just like it was in Twitter 1.0, where the US government had agents embedded deep within the company. And if you don't know what that's about, check out the Twitter files. Very interesting indeed. This is, as I say, it's all about control. It has absolutely nothing to do with protecting people and safety and all this stuff. It's all about pushing a certain narrative that allows them to retain political power, either to gain power or to retain power. Nothing to do with your safety or my safety. The call to toughen Germany's stance on social media comes after a new series of incidents, including a shooting outside the Israeli consulate in Munich, as well as a knifing rampage in Solingen. Hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, that left 3 dead. In recent days, several countries have taken steps to rein in social media platforms. Earlier this week, Brazil slapped a blanket ban on X. The platform had failed to comply with local political misinformation and hate speech laws by refusing to delete certain offending messages. Yeah, but who decides what's offensive and what isn't? There are some certain things that could be deemed offensive, and that's just common sense, but come on. Seriously, if I disagree with somebody or say something stupid on a social media platform, that's my problem. I understand that if you're actually promoting some sort of violent act that's literally going to hurt somebody, I get that. Call the authorities. But as I say, look at the case of Pavel Durov. Look at the case of Elon Musk. They're being persecuted for what's being put on their platforms. I said it before and I'll say it again. Mark Zuckerberg gets slapped with a fine. You don't see him being prosecuted like this. It's fascinating. And people can't see it. They go, what do you mean? I don't understand. Well, slap yourself in the back of the head and wake up and see what's going on. It's all about power and control. Have a look at Google with its Google searches. Look at YouTube that it also owns. It just blows me away that people can't see the censorship. This is why I love places like Rumble and I love BitChute. Places like that where you can go. The link's below the description of this video. You can go on there. On those video streaming platforms, you'll see things that you don't like. Don't watch them. Back in the day, if you were watching free-to-air TV and you saw something that you didn't like, you changed the channel, you switched the TV off. But it's the old thing, isn't it? You're being forced to consume things that are created by people who have evil intent. And yet they're saying in the same breath that the other person is evil, that we're trying to ban. It's the old projection thing. It's like, I'm going to say this person is a very, very, very bad person, but in reality, you're the very bad person. But the problem is everybody believes you are not the other guy. It just blows me away. I just can't see how people can't see through this. It just blows me away. It absolutely amazes me. It's fascinating. In late August, the Russian tech entrepreneur and founder of Telegram, Pavel Durov, was arrested in Paris. The businessman now faces a multitude of charges related to complicity in drug trafficking, money laundering, fraud, and various forms of abuse of the young ones, stemming from the actions of Telegram users. While Durov was ultimately released on bail, has been ordered to stay in France while the investigation is ongoing. Exactly. You have a look. I mean, even the CEO of Gab has been threatened. Gab is another, breakaway social media platform. It's just insane. We don't like what's being said on there. Yeah, well, go and have a look at bloody Zuckerbucks and see what goes on all over his platforms. What would we do that for? We're not going to arrest Mark Zuckerberg. But exactly the same crap is going on there. Why aren't you arresting him? Well, he's not Elon Musk or Pavel Durov. What? It's like you got two people committing a murder at exactly the same time, but you're going to arrest one guy and not arrest the other one. Why not? Well, he's not the other bloke. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Unless you look at it from the aspect of it's all about power. It's all about maintaining power or gaining power. And this is all this is. And this gentleman here, Anton Hofreiter, is literally falling in line with, with the narrative. You think after what Germany went through many years ago, you'd think he'd want to be standing up for it. And I don't understand why a German can't see what's going on. You've got infiltration of major companies by major governments all over the world, which is exactly what happened in the 1930s in Germany. And what, you can't see it? Absolutely fascinating. And the moment you get two people that stand up to it, i.e. Pavel Durov and Elon Musk, you attack them. It's interesting, isn't it? Love to hear your thoughts on this. Please feel free to comment below the video. I'd love to hear from you. All right, well, just before we finish off, we've got a little bit of a news clip here, and it'll give us a bit more background on this particular story here with the Mr. Hofreiter and the general background in the X and Telegram and the threatening of their chief entertainment officers. Yes, the CEO. Yes. Interesting, isn't it? And then we'll carry on the conversation when we come out the other side.
Questions are swirling in the tech world following the announcement of a formal investigation into whether Pavel Durov, the head of the popular messaging app Telegram, failed to curb illegal activities on the platform, which has nearly 1 billion users. Today, the European Commission announced it was also looking into whether Telegram was in compliance with the EU's new digital services laws. Durov, who was detained in Paris this week, is suspected by French authorities of complicity in allowing illicit transactions, images of child sexual abuse, and drug trafficking on Telegram. And the case has sparked a heated debate about the limits of digital freedom of speech. French lawyers say it's unprecedented for an individual to be held criminally liable for what users do on a tech platform.
Telegram complies in every respect with European digital regulations and is moderated to the same standards as other social networks. It's totally absurd to think that the head of a social network could be involved in criminal acts that don't concern him either directly or indirectly.
Eva Galperin is the director of cybersecurity at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which focuses on digital rights. And she joins us now from San Francisco. Eva, good to have you on the show. First up, I'd like to get your reaction on Durov being charged.
Well, right now, the biggest problem is that there's a lot that we don't know about these charges against Durov. We know that this has to do with Telegram, that it has to do with allegedly criminal things happening on Telegram. But the problem is that there are sort of two classes of traffic that happen on Telegram. One part of Telegram is sort of like an open social network. That's, sort of your channels and your group chats and your unencrypted one-on-one messages. And all of that is visible to Telegram. But there is also a mode of Telegram use where you can have one-on-one messages with secret chats enabled, which is end-to-end encrypted with, questionable encryption. And supposedly, Telegram cannot see the content of those communications. So for the stuff that Telegram can see, expecting it to, have, some sort of moderation of that content is not unreasonable. But if the government expects Telegram to moderate content that it can't see, or to stop making end-to-end encryption available because they cannot see that content, then that's a real attack on strong encryption and on privacy and security all over the world, and I would be very concerned.
Mm-hmm. You say there's a lot we don't know about these charges, and let's look at Durov as a person. Is he a free speech warrior or an opportunistic businessman willing to profit from harboring the worst parts of the internet?
I mean, I don't think those are the only two options. I think that Telegram has a reputation as being sort of a freewheeling space because it is very lightly moderated. Some of that may be because Durov cares about free speech, and some of that might be because Durov has about 30 employees instead of the sort of vast numbers of people with different levels of competence in different languages and understanding of culture and of laws that you would need in order to do effective moderation of a platform with like 1 billion users.
They say that their moderation is up to industry standards. Would you say that's not correct then?
I would say that I would be very curious to know what industry standards they're referring to.
All right. So how exactly did Telegram turn into a haven for all sorts of criminal activity?
Well, in two different ways. The first is that because Telegram is very lightly moderated, people can get away with discussing or engaging in criminal activities on Telegram channels and in Telegram group chats. And often this leaves people with the impression that their communications are protected and that they're private and that they're secure. And really, they're not. Just the platform isn't doing anything about it. And the second is that Durov has made a lot of statements casting aspersions on the actual sort of safe and private end-to-end encrypted chat apps that exist, such as Signal, thus leaving people with the impression that their communications are much more private and secure than they actually are.
He has also vowed not to cooperate with law enforcement. Do you think he didn't know whom he was inviting in?
This is not the first time that Durov has tangled with a government that has threatened to take criminal action or even to ban Telegram in the country unless he cooperated. He has gone up against the German government and the Brazilian government, and in both times he's managed to sort of squirm his way out of it, essentially by promising greater cooperation. So I think that leaving people with the impression that his service is not cooperating with any government requests is probably very misleading.
All right. How much are other tech bosses panicking right now?
It's unclear. We don't all have lunch. We don't hang out. But certainly this might be cause for concern for, say, Elon Musk and X. I think there was a court in Brazil that is currently threatening to ban X in Brazil unless X appoints a local representative who is held responsible for content moderation and responses to law enforcement requests from the Brazilian government.
That was Eva Galperin of the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Great speaking to you. Thank you so much.
Well, that was interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Find that interesting, a little bit of background on these, extra background on these news articles I like to share with you. As I say, not a scientist or a technical CEO myself. I just love to share all these news items, and we don't often go into a lot of depth on these things. A lot of people just see the headline and that's it, and you'll find the meat of the actual article is right down below it. It's, you got to read beyond the headline. It just absolutely amazes me, and most people don't. All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video, because I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care, and as I always say, if you can't be good at it. As I also always say, read beyond the headline. As I say, most people don't, but you have to, because the powers that be, such as Mr. Hofreiter, don't want you to. And as I also always say,
take off! 5, 4,